Are you ready?
Starting now?
Now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
But
you're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature.
Today.
And what day? Yeah. I was just going to say, what day is it today, Mike?
It is January 6th.
Yeah, and I've been actually kind of, I don't know if you say, what did I say, teasing it, but I've been talking about it coming up, to this, and we will get into that in a couple of minutes. I got two things I want to bring up real quick, but January 6th it's a big day for us, and it has a lot of meaning, and we talk about it. Actually, we've talked about it quite a bit on here, but we can explain everything and the why behind it and all that stuff in just a few minutes. But yeah, I've got two things that I definitely need to share. So,
all right.
First one is, oh, God damn.
Yeah.
First one is me. Hang on.
Clearing your throat.
Yeah, let me, hang on. I'm going to mute you. Hold on.
All right. I guess it's up to me now while Bill clears out whatever he's got stuck down his gullet.
all I did was just
and
cough,
then the dogs
real
barked.
Quick. I know.
You woke him up, man.
No, so it was funny because when I got my pizza and I ate real quick, and I think it was a remnants of a piece of fucking whatever mushroom or something stuck in my throat. But
all right.
So Kathy's like, because Kylie's home this weekend, so Kathy's like, well, let's see if we can keep the four dogs quiet. I'm like, it is what it is, man. So, but right
about a minute into it, we got them going.
I know. Well, what was funny was Kathy was up here, and I was texting you. I was about to hit send, and I heard I think it was Bentley downstairs and Katniss running around. I think Kathy was up here getting Moxie, and she's like walking downstairs going, quiet, just quiet. But it's not. I told her, I'm like, it is what it is. It's not a big deal. It's not like they're sitting next to me barking where you can't hear it. So.
Right.
Yeah, we're all good. So, okay. So first thing, and this literally just happened like an hour and a half ago. Did you see the meme that I posted this morning, the Mike Tyson one, the Nike one, just do it?
I've seen it before. I didn't see you actually posting it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I posted it actually for years on Facebook. It came up as a memory on my Facebook page, and a lot of those things now, I post very little on my my personal Facebook page,
right?
Just because I spend all my time on this thing on Instagram. So
right.
So
you're actually not wasting your time on social media. You're actually doing something.
Yeah, you know what, and really, what's funny is my personal Facebook page, I still see updates, but it's shocking to me. Well, it's not shocking because I get how it works, but what I'm seeing more now on my personal Facebook page is suggested posts and ads and things like that. I'm not seeing as much of like these random people that I'm friends with, and I do not have a big bunch of friends on Facebook on purpose. I've done it on purpose. I've kept my friends low, and I think I've got 250 people that I'm friends with on Facebook, and I'm fine with that. And I'd say probably, God, there's got to be 80%, 70% at least that are recovery people.
Right.
And there's a huge majority that are, the next majority is family. And then random people, high school people and things like that, you know,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't, two things. I don't have the time or want to take the time to really dick around on both, you
Right.
know? So, yeah, the Instagram thing, obviously for almost a year now has been, you know, my place to go with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I posted that meme this morning, and you know, a lot of activity on it, people laughing and this and that, and you know, whatever. And again, it's Mike Tyson, you know, and you know, it's he's got a lisp, and people make fun of it, and you know, he's
Right.
been I. If I'm not mistaken, I think I've actually heard people say that, you know, he laughs his ass off at people making fun of him, you know. So,
Well, if you
I
smoked as much pot as he did, you'd be laughing your ass off too.
right. Yeah. So he's part of the joke, but regardless.
Uh-huh.
So right after I'm all done with work, I order my pizza, I'm getting my shit together. I was going to run up there, and I see two notifications, and two of them like within probably within, I don't know, 5 minutes of each other. And one says from some dude, I don't even know who he is. It didn't recognize the, you know, the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, so if people who make fun of alcoholics are dickheads, what are people who make fun of people with speech impediments? And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, did we ever? I'm like, fuck it. So my note back to him was, or my
Yeah.
comment was, first of all, I don't remember us ever calling, you know, anyone anything that made fun of alcoholics. But I said,
Right.
but and I said on top of that, I'm like, either way, I said we're probably dickheads anyhow. So there's
Well,
that.
yeah.
so and then the next comment right below it is so making fun of people with speech impediments, and I'm just like, I just passed along a meme and then hit send and done,
Right.
and I'm about to walk out of the house, and I'm like, you know what, we got too much shit going on right now to have some fucking idiots out there report us, complain about us, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I'm like, you know, somebody, who knows? You get somebody, you know,
Right.
somebody at the Fuckerberg Enterprise that's like, oh, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna teach this person a lesson.
We're gonna tag
So,
you for bullying and restrict your account.
right, which we cannot afford. I hate to say that, but
Right.
we need Instagram, we need Facebook, and everything that we are doing, and we're going to do. So,
Uh-huh.
so I went in, and I was actually pretty proud of myself afterwards. I deleted them.
You censored yourself.
I did. I deleted deleted the Instagram one. I'm like, fuck, it's still on Facebook. So
Right.
went in and deleted it off of our Facebook page too. And then I'm like,
Mm.
okay. And I really, for a minute there, I'm like, God, that was, and I mean this sincerely. I'm like, that was kind of big of me, because that's not, I'm like, I wanted to leave that up there and just fuck with people is what
Well,
I
of
wanted
course.
to do. But I'm like, nah, I'm trying to look at it. And I hate this term, the bigger picture. And I did my air quotes when I said that. So,
Yep. Well, I refer to Rule 62 of
right.
Alcoholics Anonymous. Don't take yourself too damn seriously.
Right. And you know, the funny part is, and because my next thought after, right before I deleted them, I'm like, do these people, have they looked through our page? That's the thing that offended them. I'm like, that
Right.
fucking amazes me. Like when we were talking about, you know, if there's a hell and if we're
Mhm.
going, I really want to know what gets me in there, because I'll probably be shocked and think, really, that was it? Did you
Yeah,
see all
right.
these other things?
Right. Wait a
That-
minute. I got a
Yeah.
list here.
Right. That's the thing I'm in here for. That was my number one. God damn, really? I'm like, okay, that's fine. Whatever. But yeah, so that was that. And like I said,
All right.
I mean that sincerely. I actually felt good about myself, because I'm like, I just would have rather just left it up there and fucked with people, but I didn't do that.
Right.
So
So sober and slightly mature.
no, it's, you know, and now that you say, I wonder if it's pure selfishness, I think is what
Well,
it is.
yeah,
Because
of course.
that's what I just thought about. I did that for selfish reasons, because I don't need some fucking Mike Tyson meme to
Right.
to fuck with our deal. So,
Uh-huh.
but anyhow, so the
Right.
second thing, and it was funny. So right before we got on, I told Mike, I'm like, we got a lot to talk about. And he's like, ooh, better grab my book, because obviously the January 6th thing. And then he's like, so nothing we got to talk about, nothing beforehand. And I'm like, I got a couple of things, but I said, let's just get on there and do it, because this one, well, you saw already that I've been posting about the web store. So
Mhm.
letting everyone know about that. And I figured that, you know, because it could be right now, it could be at least a week, maybe two, until we get the right certificate that we need. So we can't actually open the store until then. But I'm like,
Right.
I wanted to start letting people know about it, and then people can sign
Mm-hmm.
up for our emails. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But do you remember what? And I brought up a off of the recording last week. I brought up a particular organization that I had emailed, and I was trying to get us authorized through.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the organization?
It's Hazleton, right?
Yeah, we are now approved.
Cool. We are official.
so 4:56 p.m. today, non-real
Right.
time. This is just Central Time. 4:56 p.m. I get this email, and I hadn't heard from her at all this week. So
Right.
I emailed her like 2 days ago, and I'm like, hey,
Yeah,
if you,
still here.
anything? Yeah. Any other questions? Anything going on? Yeah, we're still here. So, and I hadn't heard anything, and I'm like, oh fuck, maybe I'm trying to keep the positive part, thinking that they're looking into it and whatever.
Mhm.
But she emailed me back and apologized and said she was having some just email issues this week.
Right.
And she goes, yeah, I sent the email, but you must not have got it. But yeah, she goes, we can't, because we were going to try to set up the drop shipping type of thing. And she's like,
Mhm.
we can't do that. She said, but she goes, I already set up your account. I'm attaching some documents, most ordered items and things like that. She's like, you're going to have to order the items and, actually set them up yourself and do whatever. But
Okay.
she's like, yeah, you're all set. So I'm like, awesome.
Nice.
I haven't looked at any of the other documents or anything like that. But okay, so we're going to get into a book that's being read, and it's a Hazelden book. So here's why this is a big fucking deal. Okay.
Yep.
And why this means a lot to both Mike and I. So
Mhm.
anyone in the recovery community who's ever read any recovery books, there most of them are not all of them, but
Right.
there's a lot of them done by Hazelden, and
Mhm.
they're out of Minnesota. They're actually affiliated now with the Betty Ford Clinic. They're kind of a
Right.
big deal. They're a big
They
deal.
are.
We're not, but they're a big deal.
Yep.
So when you go to meetings and things like that, these are the books. The 24-hour book, God Grant Me, Keep It Simple. Every single book that Mike and I have been reading since day fucking one.
Right.
Our Hazelden books. So now with this web store thing that we're doing, we're an authorized reseller for those books. So and that was one of our goals, is to try to have recovery books. And literally just like this thing that we're doing right now, we did on a fucking whim.
Yep.
I just sent him an email. That's all I fucking did. And I'm like, hey, we want to sell your shit,
Right.
And I'm like, there's just no fucking way, no fucking way that these people are going to allow us to do it. But then on top of that, to make it even more cool, is as we were going back and forth in these emails, and I'm obviously, Mike, I mentioned this to you, but
Mhm.
she's like, all the people that we deal with, she's like, we're not sure even how to categorize you.
That's the highest compliment we can get.
I know. She's like, because we deal with like recovery groups and bookstores.
Right.
She's like, we've never
Yeah.
dealt with somebody like you before. And I'm like,
if we had a nickel for every time.
I know, but then but again, and I was just like, this whole process, which it only took a week. I mean, literally a week, because it was last week. I think Wednesday or Thursday when I had emailed her, but the main conversations were last week, Friday, right before the holiday weekend, and because she had said that people, or maybe a Thursday, but either way, she said people were out for a couple of days.
Right.
But yeah, so it's I don't know if we're the only type of group like us, just some
Right.
a couple of random fucking guys,
couple rando podcasters.
But did I tell you that she asked about if we could forecast the amount of sales that we would have?
I think you mentioned something about that last week. Yeah.
Okay, so and I'm completely familiar. I've been around the sales business and everything.
Sure.
Everyone's interested in numbers.
Sure.
So, but I never thought about that, because I really, in the back of my mind, now that I think about it, I didn't believe that we would get necessarily approved.
Man,
so I didn't think about
I'm not hearing anything.
all these things, So I'm like,
And I'm still not
I don't
hearing
know,
anything.
but
You
so I
never
gave
thought
our
about
Instagram
something.
numbers.
There you
Yeah.
are.
Oh, did
You're
you?
back.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't hear you.
Okay. So, yeah, and that happened. That's weird. That happened with you last week, where I didn't hear you.
Yep.
You were on the recording,
Right.
so it didn't mess up the
So
recording part.
clearly you are. Yeah. So while
Yeah.
you're talking, I'm sitting here going, anyway, go ahead.
No, that's okay. But no, I just ended up giving her the numbers from our Instagram posts as far as the
Right.
reach that we're getting,
Mm-hmm.
and truly that's where our opportunity is, So
Right.
I don't know if that helped, but I mean I
Yeah.
don't think it
Couldn't
could
have
hurt.
hurt.
Yeah, and it's again, and anyone who's who has their Instagram page set up as a business, because
Mm-hmm.
there's personal and business,
Right.
you have obviously access to that, so you can see number of accounts you're reaching outside of your followers and this and that. So that's what I provided her. But the whole point, none of
Mm-hmm.
this none of that, all that shit matters. But
Right.
the whole point is once we get this web store up and running, we're going to have the books and we'll have to figure out, and once I take a look at the sheets and all that stuff, and I'll just do like a basic order of some books and I don't know, a handful of each or whatever, and see how it
Right.
works. And because that'll give us an idea too, that if we get close or run out of stock, I mean, then how quickly we can have books back and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
but one way or the other, I just think it's cool. So we'll talk a little bit more about the web store. I mean, we're going to have some, again, our merchandise I've been posted about. I put some pictures of some other things, but now
Mm-hmm.
having these recovery books up there, I can't even tell. I'm just fucking happy about it.
Right.
Because it's, and it's, when it comes to those things, it's such a big deal because it's been, they're the cornerstone of everything we do,
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but that'll lead into, obviously what we're going to talk about, the whole January 6th thing. So, should we give kind of a little, I don't know, a little like a backstory again about the meditations and what we do and why this was so important and that sort of thing? Or you want to read the reading, or how do you want to do it? It's up to you.
Well, I mean, yeah, a little backstory. We, if you've listened to any of us, we mentioned the Keating Center quite a lot, and it was a fairly structured thing. When we were halfway, first 90 days there, and one of the things that we do, you start your day off, right? You get woken up at 7 o'clock, and by 8 o'clock, we were in the group room, which was like the classroom, and we did our meditation, and that consisted of reading the day's reading out of the 24-hour book. And so, we'd read it, and we'd go around the room, and everybody had to, comment, give your insight or whatever. You had to say something, that was part of it, being part of right there, first thing in the damn morning. And then after we did that day's reading, we finished off our morning meditation with the reading of January 6th. Every day we read this, every day. And it became important. It was funny. Actually, did you see that P-Dubs posted today on Facebook?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. When I stopped by Dan's today, he was there. So
Oh,
that was
really?
cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So, we talked a little about it too. And it was funny. He was like, because he went through the Keating Center too several years before us. And he's a friend of ours. Hi, Pat. And, he was like, we were talking about it, and he was all, why are we doing this every day? Why are we doing this every day? And I looked at him and I said, because we needed to do it every day. And he went, yep, we sure as hell did.
Well, and then I mean, you think about it too, and as we go through this reading, and we'll explain the whole not today thing. But if once again, like Mike said, if you listen at all, you'll hear us say that all the time, and it's usually in the context of, are you going to do this? Not today. Did this happen to you? Not today. You having a bad day? Not today. Anything like that. It's sometimes it's in a joke. Do you feel like a girl today? Well, not today. But whatever it is. I mean, we've used that, but that comes from this reading.
Right.
So, and it was done as a you want it like almost like an anthem that we read it as,
Right.
and that is a
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Well, okay, so the reading itself is the reading, but at the Keating Center, they kind of turned it into a call and response. Because as we've talked about, generally the readings in the 24-hour book end with a question. January 6th has a series of questions, and the entire group room would answer the question out loud, quite loud most of the time.
right.
It was it, and it was. What the hell was it? It
was
was
like
again. It was a bonding thing, and it was. I mean, it's. I was thinking about this the other day. I'm going to use the word Nazi one more time. It was very rallying. It was very brainwashing, because God knows our brains needed a good washing. They were dirty. Yeah, it was was and is a rallying cry almost.
Right.
Yeah, so how are we going to do this? Are we going to do the dry reading and then do it the way they did it, or are we going to do it the way that we did it?
Well, let's do the dry reading all the way through, because
Okay.
I think that's important, because the reading itself, I think, is
No,
obviously
absolutely.
an important reading, and then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we can do it the Keating Center way at the end, because it's just
The Keating Center way.
but it's the top part that's the
Right.
battle cry, or whatever you want to call it, the rallying cry. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was the first section that we read every day. We didn't read the whole thing, but I will read the whole thing. Are we ready for this?
We are.
All right, January 6th, AA thought for the day. It's going to be weird doing it dry. All right. Keeping sober is the most important thing in my life. The most important decision I ever made was my decision to give up drinking. I am convinced that my whole life depends on not taking that first drink. Nothing in the world is as important to me as my own sobriety. Everything I have, my whole life, depends on that one thing. Can I afford ever to forget this, even for 1 minute? Meditation for the day. I will discipline myself. I will do this disciplining now. I will turn out all useless thoughts. I know that the goodness of my I know that the goodness of my life is a necessary foundation for its usefulness. I will welcome this training, for without it, God cannot give me his power. I believe that this power is a mighty power when it is used in the right way. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may face and accept whatever discipline is necessary. I pray that I may be fit to receive God's power in my life. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean the reading in general is good. It's so funny when and I knew what today was. I mean, we've been talking about this all week, but
Right.
I'm like, yeah, you're half a fucking sleep, and in the morning and stuff like that. And I opened it up and I read
Mm-hmm.
that first line. I'm like, ooh, I like sat up, seriously sat up in my chair. I'm like, God damn, it's January 6th.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, again, the reading itself is good, but yeah, we can do the Keating Center way now if you'd like.
All right, I would. All right, January 6th, AA thought for the day. Keeping sober is the most important thing in my life. Today, the most important decision I ever made was my decision to give up drinking. Today, I am convinced that my whole life depends on not taking that first drink. Today, nothing in the world is as important as my own sobriety. Today, everything I have, my whole life depends on that one thing. Today. Did we do today there? I don't know.
Nope.
All right. Yeah, I know. It's been a while since I've done it in the group.
I know.
All right. And let's finish this off. Can I afford to ever forget this, even for 1 minute?
Not today. and their kids, that's where that comes from. So
that is.
Yep. And whenever and seriously, you'll hear us say it. It's just become part of what we do and what we
Part of
talk
our life,
about.
part of that
yeah.
discipline.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Not today, man.
Yep. And all of us know. You can walk up to. You see it on, and I didn't see it as much. Usually, we'll see and I saw P-Dub's post, and I didn't read
Mhm.
all the comments and stuff like that. But usually
Right.
there's one or two people. Certain years there's a handful of our friends that'll
Mhm.
post that or just post "not today" or whatever on there,
Right.
and it's pretty fucking cool because sometimes we go,
Absolutely.
I some of these guys I haven't seen, and I know you necessarily haven't seen in a while.
Mhm.
But then you just everyone pops up on this day, not today.
Right. Right. Yeah. Actually, a friend of my daughter's who is one of us as well, she posted it today.
Really?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, it's it's all over the damn place.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure she didn't go to the Jean Marie. So, but I know other houses and other groups use January 6th as well. So
Right.
apparently that's yeah. It was cool.
Well, and you got to figure. I mean, a lot of these guys that like Tony and God, I'm trying to think a couple of people off the top of my head. I can't remember their names, but
Uh
there's people who were around the Keating Center enough, and
hmm
even semi-affiliated with the Keating Center, whether they were
Right.
groups or that sort of thing, or were involved in some of the charity events. So just like everything else, I mean, people steal in this program, and it's the in
Yes, we do.
in the best possible way.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually really cool. I mean, it was fun because again, we talk about it, and when we started, obviously this whole thing. By the time that we had our first full episode, I mean, it wasn't until March. So
Right. Yeah. So
yeah,
this is our first January 6th here on the old podcast.
exactly, exactly. God damn, I got like a little bit of a. I think I'm just having a sinus issue. So if I keep
Nah.
clearing my throat, sorry about that. So.
Right. Yeah. You got to swallow that all the way down, man.
Right. Isn't it? That's supposed to help. The protein's supposed to help, isn't
Hey, yeah.
it? But so anything else on January 6th? Because I mean, I had a bunch of different things that I wrote down on here, but anything else on that or the meditation? Because I mean, I personally I think that time for us, and we talk a lot about, the foundation. We talk a lot about the
hmm
Keating Center, but that whole meditation time, even taking out the fact of that reading, how important that was,
hmm
that structure, like you said,
Yeah.
getting everyone together like that, and everyone
Right.
Marty was just in just not just Marty, but the structure of
hmm
that was there for a reason. We all
Right.
we lived and died by each other. Like I told the
Yeah.
story about
Yeah.
the chair being left out, and
hmm
everyone having to go back in and clean. One person messed up,
Yep.
everyone paid for it. So,
That's right.
but yeah, it taught us teamwork and camaraderie, and just I guess the we of the program, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Because, I mean, it was huge for me because, again, loner, isolator, still am an individual special. Ooh, I'm special. Right. Yeah. So I needed to be forced into that. And yeah. And apparently it worked because here we are.
Right. Well, and it's funny too that I know after we started working, so the other thing we had to do every morning, which I know they don't make the guys do now, they're in a different location now, but
They are.
this, the thing that they called the Kylie mile, which I don't think it was a
Right.
mile, but we had to
No.
walk from the Keating Center building all the way to the end of the parking lot and back.
Yep.
And we did that
Yep.
before meditation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think. So,
Yeah. I don't
we,
know.
yeah, well, but we had to do it, and
Right.
after we started working and stuff like that, then you're not required to go to group anymore in the morning. You're not, or any
hmm
groups, you're not
Right.
required to go to meditation. You certainly don't have to do that. I still did that walk
hmm
almost every morning, and
Right.
until I started working for the company that was out on Rocky River, because what I did was
Right.
I use that walking time to do my prayers in the morning.
hmm
So when I was bussing it at that other company, then from there down to the Rapid, I went ahead and that's when I did my prayers. And then
Right.
I think trying to think when I started driving, I probably just did it. I must have just done it in the morning. I can't remember
Right.
when I did it. I mean, I know I did. I don't remember if I did it in the car or what I did, but yeah, I always did it. So. But I mean, that was all part of that structure where, I sat down at meditation a couple of times when I had the time, because it's
Right. Oh
fun,
yeah. Yeah, me too. Right.
Yeah. But once again, just that, I don't know, again, that structure and that foundation that we talk about is,
Mm-hmm.
is one of the reason that we talk about keeping those things in place is because it does matter. It matters a lot. And
It
like you
matters.
said,
Yeah, it's yes. I said it many times on here. There are things that I have to do every day. Otherwise I'm going to pick up. I stop doing this shit. I'm getting drunk
right.
and I'm getting high, and then I'm starting to hurt everybody around me.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and we've seen too many stories, man, or too many people, and
Yeah.
heard too many stories. And I'd love to be able to question it. I'd love to be able to, because that's the kind of guy I am. I'm a why kind of guy, and I'm a
Sure.
testing the waters kind of guy, and all that stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
not with this thing, man. This is literally the only thing in my life where I don't question authority, because
Yeah.
I mean, whatever it is, people always say, the whole buy-in thing. People are like, oh, he bought into it. It's not even a buy-in. It's
Mm.
accepting the facts, that are right in front of your
Yep.
face. So
Yeah.
in make
Accepting the fact that these people figured this shit out a long time ago, and it worked for them, and if we do it, it works for us.
right.
Yeah.
I was just thinking too, and that I'm probably still. It's not that I'm not a why person, but everything that's shown, or everything that's given to us or
Mm-hmm.
taught to us in this whole sobriety thing, especially through AA.
Right.
Nobody's hiding everything. I mean, all the
Yeah.
cards are on the table. They're giving you all the notes.
Yeah.
There's nothing to question. I mean, it's all there. Everyone's open and vulnerable, and it's just all there.
Mm-hmm.
They leave
Yeah.
nothing to question, unless you want further explanation. But it's not like, well, why are we doing this? They tell you why.
Right.
And they show you why.
Right. That's just it. Yeah, they show you because you're fucking drunk, and if you don't do this shit, you're gonna drink.
Right. But yeah, and we know, we were just talking about it a few weeks ago, and I've
Mm-hmm.
again listening to all these other podcasts, and you hear all these stories, and even on Instagram, people that are coming back, and I slipped again, or I relapsed again, and I don't see
Mm-hmm.
as much on Instagram as I did when I was on Sober Grid all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but you see people that are, and if they're not, I don't know. I mean, I don't know these people. It's a different story than the people that you
Right.
and I know. I can offer suggestions, and every once in a while I do, but I try not to dig into these,
Mm-hmm.
faceless people that I don't know. If they're
Right.
people ask me a question, I'm going to give them my honest answer.
Mm-hmm.
But we've saw it. It goes back to, I mean, shit. It goes back to that story. It's funny, and I thought about this the other day. The is it that simple story that happened
Mm-hmm.
in January, and
Right.
so that would have been literally 12 years ago.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
in that goes down to this whole thing. And is it worth repeating, even the brief part of that story, if people
Yeah.
haven't heard
Sure.
it?
Why
Okay.
not?
So, everything that we were just talking about, and just take me, and it was about me, but so take us
Mm-hmm.
back 12 years, and Mike and I, just as a reminder, got sober at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
We're only a few days apart, but we joke about it. But here we got sober the same exact time. So
Right.
both the same amount of time, both in the heating center, both taught the same way, all this sort of thing. So
Yep.
people, and it just happens. Obviously, people are going out and they're drinking, and people are relapsing, and people are using, and people are dying.
Mm-hmm.
And every single time somebody went back out and came back, to the program, I was sitting there and I'm listening. I'm like, okay, so what? And all I want to do is I hear what happened. Well, I want to hear what happened,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm
Right.
like, I don't want to do that. So literally in my head, it's like almost to taking notes. I'm like, okay, it was Tuesday, it was raining, and they did this, so I can't do that. And then the next
Right.
person, it's a totally different circumstance. Fuck, it was a
No.
Wednesday, it was sunny, and this happened.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay. And then, so you kind of get my point. I was just in my head, I'm like, I don't fucking understand it,
Uh-huh.
So the four things that we were told right off the bat, obviously don't drink,
Mm-hmm.
but it was go to meetings, pray, and try to help another alcoholic. That's it.
Yep.
They said if you do those, obviously the first one being not drinking,
Right.
that's the key. But what helps you in that, keeps you in the middle of all this stuff, is the other three things: go to meetings,
Mm-hmm.
pray, and try to help another alcoholic. So
Yep.
once again, I mean, I can't get it. I'm looking for the why. And at this point, I'm 9 months sober. And I'm going to meetings and I'm living in a safe place and I'm going through all the motions, but I'm a fucking mess, So Mike, one time we were in the 3-quarter house. This is when we lived in the same room. And
Yep.
again, like it was yesterday, even though it was 12 years ago, I'm standing in the hallway in front of the bathroom. He's standing in the doorway to our bedroom. And I'm telling him this. I'm like, all these fucking people are going out. All these fucking people are relapsing. I don't fucking get it. We're always told, go to meetings, pray, try to help another alcoholic. And I'm like, can it be that simple? And Mike says to me,
yes. And walked away.
And that motherfucker walked away from me. And I told that story, and there was one other item, and it had to do with my dad. But there was two things at that time that were on my mind that were really fucking with me, and I didn't realize I'm confident now that had I not taken care of those couple of things, that a relapse I believe was inevitable, because I wasn't dealing with my shit and I couldn't get it. If I didn't understand it, then shit was going to get away from me. But that's this whole point of what we were just talking about, this foundation. So two things. Foundation is perfect, but you got to do the work, and you also got to open up your mind. And at that time, I was still questioning. I was still being a why, the why guy.
Right. Well, yeah. We've heard it over and over, and it happened to me. We overthink ourselves right out of the rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. There's got to be more to this. They're keeping something from me.
Right.
There's some secret that you're just not getting it. You're thinking too much about it. That's one of the huge, well, again, being an atheist and praying every day, I take the action, whether it makes sense to me, whether I understand it, whether I feel it in my heart, I fucking do it, and I get the results.
Right.
Imagine that. Yeah, that's just it, man. I overthink things, and I'm going to overthink my ass right back into the bottle in the bag. I'm going to, I can't overthink it. It is that simple. You do these things, you get the results, and you don't have to drink and get high. You don't. Yeah.
Right. Well, and you and I joke about that. That's come up. I mean, on here quite a few times. It's come up on Instagram. I just did it today. I don't even remember what you had said something, and I'm like, could it be that simple? And I mean, basically what we're doing, we're teeing things up for each other, all the time on that, because it's a fucking joke now, but it wasn't at the time. I was seriously, I was fucking beside myself.
Right. Yeah.
But that's the thing. So, and that's the beauty of having somebody that you can turn to, having a friend in this whole thing, the wee part of the program, and even to this day, there are decisions that I will not make without talking to Mike. There are decisions that I won't make without talking to my sister, because I've said that probably 100 times just on here. I don't trust myself, and I get anxious and I get impatient, and it's crazy. I'm impulsive. I'm fucking impulsive.
Well, I mean, yes, we have changed, and yes, we are better people, but we're still the same damn people we always were. we just deal with shit differently now.
Right.
But yeah, it's still me up here in my head. The inner government, man, is still fucking trying to run shit. And I gotta say, nope, you can't do it, man. My life, again, first step shit. My life is unmanageable. Guess what? My life is still unmanageable. I manage my own life. I'm going to manage my ass right into the grave, and I'm going to cause a lot of fucking wreckage before I get there.
Right.
And I don't want to do that today. So yeah, right. I let this program, I let my people manage my life, but power is greater than myself. That's what manages my life, and I get the results of that. I have a decent life today.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. But I literally, it was yesterday or the day before that I thought about that. I mean, because it was sometime in the month of January, at that time, again, 2011, it would have been, so that both of those things happened. But because we were, and I'll never forget. I mean, we were fucking 9 months sober, and
Right.
you know, get me going out of my fucking mind. Can it be that simple?
Yeah.
But yeah, as it turns out, apparently it can be that simple, right? But so what else? I mean, we obviously, again, January 6th, the 24-hour book we talked about, the structure and all that at the Keating Center, which I think was, and again, I'm glad we talked about that because I think
Right.
that's, we focused on that a lot in the first, probably 10 episodes, but we probably haven't talked about that structure as much, in the last
Right.
30 episodes.
Again, right. Yeah. Well, like the reading said, man, I got to be open to the discipline.
Right.
And God knows I need discipline because I was an undisciplined motherfucker.
Right.
Right. Only discipline in my life was walking to the corner to get a bottle.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes trying to walk there with your pants down too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I didn't make it, did I? Ended up in the goddamn Keating Center.
you face planted right into the Keating Center.
I did.
Well, you know what? Actually, speaking of discipline and I don't know, not face planting, but discipline, I think we're probably in a good place to take a break if you're disciplined enough to lead us in.
Well, I don't know about all that, but yeah, we're going to take a little break here and we're going to have a message from our sponsor and we'll be right back.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober, Not Mature. Have you visited our website lately? If not, it's www.SoberNotMature.com. While you're there, you can listen to all of our episodes or find links to where our episodes can be played, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and others. We do have a blog page for some of the writings that we've done. We've got a web store where you can take a look at all of our merchandise, buy yourself a t-shirt or a hoodie, maybe even a mug. You can see our review section where you can actually leave a review or see what people have been saying about us. You can check out our sponsor page. We've got a contact page. Basically, any opportunities that we have to contact or interact with us are on our website. Also, you can buy us a coffee, or you can just find other ways to support the podcast. Visit us today at www.SoberNotMature.com. All right, welcome back. And I have to give you credit on that one, though. That was pretty fucking smooth. Yeah,
every once in a while, those two brain cells touch each other, and
this sun shines on a dog's ass every once in a while, right?
Exactly.
But no, it's actually like that one follower of ours said that it's a little bit more funny when weird shit happens. So I do get more of a kick out of that sort of thing. But no, it's nice. It's nice every once in a while. So one thing I had written down, so New Year's Eve wrap up. If I'm correct, you ended up just staying home on New Year's Eve, right?
I did.
Okay. How'd that go? Any fireworks, gunshots?
Oh yeah, both.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to play the wonderful Cleveland game of gunshots or fireworks, and the answer to that game was both.
Right. So yeah, because I know to begin with, you were going to go play some cards.
I was going to go play cards. Yeah, a whole big long story. I got new tires on my car today.
Nice.
Yay! Yeah. Well, my original appointment, I again, structure, discipline. I made the appointment to get my tires done before I went to Mexico. And I had the appointment for the day after we got back. And that was a whole ball of shit is what that was. Yeah, they're like, okay, yeah, we're all good. We got you, it was at Walmart. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be about an hour and a half. Cool. I'll go, get my shopping done, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, long story short, it didn't happen. They didn't have the right size tires. The phone number they had for me written down was written down wrong, so they couldn't call me and tell me that I was wasting my fucking time walking around Walmart. Yeah. So that was a pain in the ass. So then I had to order them online. They came to my house. This was last week. The fuckers, the instructions were to put them on my porch. They put them in my driveway. So I had, almost $500 worth of rubber sitting there that was visible from the street. Pissed me off. But yeah, they were there. So that was all good, but they were the wrong size.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, loaded them up in my car, took them up to another shop, a local shop here, to have them put them on. And yeah, dropped the car off. About an hour later, they did have the right phone number and called me and said, hey, man, these aren't the right size. We could put them on, but your speedometer is going to be about 10 miles off. And so I had to take them back and reorder the right size. And anyway, big, long nightmare. So originally it was supposed to happen on the 22nd of December. January 6th, I have new tires on my car. Anyway, but I didn't want to drive out. It was raining. I didn't want to drive out to Elyria, which is like, half hour, 45 minutes away.
Right.
New Year's Eve in the rain. And I was like, nah, I'm just going to stay home. So I did.
That's cool.
So yeah, New Year's Eve. So I stayed home. Chris worked. She got off work at like 1 a.m, and she didn't get here till about 2. And yeah, we just hung out for a little bit and went to bed.
Right.
Yeah, that was my New Year's Eve. I watched the ball drop and went, well, that was unexciting. And yeah, right. And then there was a Benny Hill marathon on one channel.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, so I watched a little of that.
So that was, speaking of Benny Hill, when that was, obviously popular. If anyone, and again, our listener group probably knows full well who Benny Hill is, but if you don't look it up, the guy's it is kind of funny, but it was mildly filthy, but not like, it wasn't even like pornographic or anything like that.
No.
Very suggestive. It may be the right way to put it.
It was a British TV show that ran like forever, from like the 70s almost to I think the early 90s. And it like ran forever. And yeah, it was just, it was mildly dirty, wink and a nod shit from Britain.
Right.
Yeah.
But we used to every once in a while when we first moved to, I remember watching it when we moved to Wisconsin, and I remember Mom walking into the room, and Kathy and I were sitting there watching it. So when we moved to Wisconsin, I was 12, almost 13. So Kathy
perfect
would have been,
age.
Oh, I know. Yeah, Kathy would have been 14 going on 15. So pretty much Mom banned it. She's like, you're not watching that. She popped in. She's like, oh no, you're not watching that. So then we just watched it when obviously when she wasn't home. But
right, of course.
But yeah, it was just kind of funny. It's been a long time since I've watched anything from any Benny Hill stuff. But it's again, it's just it's, I don't know. It was like you said, wink and a nod type of thing. So
yep.
So yeah, not a bad New Year's Eve. And well, we went out to that.
Yeah, you guys went out to dinner, right?
Yeah, steak restaurant, which was cool. And I posted that on Instagram, and it was a cool little place, and it was right in like one of the downtown areas of Valpo, and so along the like the whole strip.
Wait. One of the downtown areas.
I'm sorry, one side. I'm sorry, one. Yeah,
there's
one side.
A little downtown area. It's a small town.
Yeah, no, I know, but I mean, it's like on one side, like that, right? There's a longer strip of all these different shops and restaurants. So yeah, it was on the one side. So sorry about that. Yeah, it wasn't in downtown 1 versus downtown 2. You're correct.
Right.
But it reminded me of like walking into one of the the shops, almost like walking into Melt, where it's like a really long type of restaurant, skinny and long, where the only difference was like Melt has the room, if you walk in off of the main entrance, like more of the room off to the right, so more people can sit there. With this one, they had like the bar areas a little bit towards the back on the right, and then they have a downstairs, I guess, which has more seating. But just a neat little place. It's it's basically it's a nice restaurant, but I think it's called a pub, whatever it was, Pick's Pub, or whatever it was, but not the cheapest place in the world, to eat. They're depending on what you got. I think my ribeye was like $43 or something like that. Some of the other steaks are close to 50 or whatever. But it was good.
Well, those places tend to pump it up a little bit on New Year's Eve anyway. So yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was good food. The service was great. We had a nice time, and
Right.
then Kathy and I went out to the casino in Michigan City, and
Oh,
both of us.
cool.
It was funny, yeah. And it was kind of surprised because Kathy said when we were walking in there, she's like, "I'm going to leave my coat in the car." She's like, "I don't want it to smell like smoke." I'm like, "They still let people smoke in there?" She's like, "Oh God,
Yeah.
yeah."
Yeah.
So they had. It was so funny. You remember years ago when you could smoke in a restaurant, and
Sure.
the non-smoking section was just
hmm
separated by like a glass halfway, like a halfway glass wall.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
kind of
Or not even that.
right.
It'd just be a different section of the room. Right.
Right. So that's kind of what this is when you walk in. It's like the whole area is smoking, and it was like somewhere on one of the sides or in the back. You kind of lose direction as you're walking in there and getting
Right.
back in there. But they had the non-smoking area, but it's open. It's not like you got to walk through any doorways.
Yeah.
It kind of cracked me up when I looked at it. But
Nice.
yeah, we were. I don't even know how long we were there. Hour and a half. It was fun.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't win anything.
No, of course not.
Neither one of us. And Kathy for a while was playing. Like she was down to her last. Literally like $3 and whatever cents, and she's playing penny slots, and then she get up to like $6, and then she get up to $12, and then I mean whatever it was. I mean she was down to the point where she had to go on a penny slot machine because I think she had like I don't know it was like 12 cents left or something.
Nice.
I'm like, well, yeah, a choice, So it was cool though. I mean, it was just again, it was something out of the ordinary to do, and
Right.
kind of just pretty laid back. But as far as New Year's Eves go, but
Yeah.
I lost every dime that I had in my wallet but specifically, I didn't whatever
Right.
money I took with me. I'm like, if I spend it all, I'm fine, and I did. My
Uh-huh.
wallet was empty of cash when I left there. But it wasn't, it was money that I could, and again, people say,
Yeah.
I almost said afford to lose. I might be a bad way to put it, but I planned on spending a particular amount of money. The fact
Exactly.
that whether I received something in return, which I did, mild entertainment for a little bit, but
Exactly.
yeah, so that's what that was. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it was cool. I've
Good.
certainly had New Year's Eves, which were fucking terrible, and this one wasn't. So,
Yep.
can't complain about that. So.
Nope. Good.
All right. So, next one actually on the list, we were talking about the 24-hour book and always having a question and all that stuff at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
So there was one. Do you still have your book in front of you?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
It's right
So
here.
take a look at January 4th. I think
All right.
the answer or the question. So this would be under the first section, and I think it says, "Am I absolutely honest with myself and other people?" Did I write that down right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. So, and I made it a point. You just said, I think you were talking about that too. The fact that have a question or has a question, but I think you and I have talked about that. What I try to do, and I think you do too, is I try to answer that question honestly every day.
Right. Right.
And if I go, that is usually something I got to think about. And this is one when I'm like, and my answer to the question was most of the time. So
Right.
I wanted to bring that up and see what you thought. So asking that question, if you ask yourself that question, am I absolutely honest with myself and other people? What would be your honest answer?
My honest answer is mostly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Hell of a lot more than I was 12 and a half years ago. But yeah. Right. Of course. Yeah. Well, with myself, that's the dangerous one.
Right.
Again, that's the we of the program. I heard this in a lead years ago, and I again stole it and use it all the time. Left to my own devices, I can justify and rationalize anything because I did.
Right.
Yeah, right. So that's why I need these other people in my life to go, no, that's bullshit, dude. But I worked it out. I convinced myself that this is the right thing.
Right.
Nope, it's not. It's wrong. Do it the other way. Do it the right way.
Well, and that's usually if they're, I would say, and I'm not going to put this down as a blanket statement, but I'm going to say at least for me, most of the time, if I have to try to justify an action, it probably wasn't the right action.
Right.
Because usually I'm not going to try to justify how good I was to somebody.
Right.
I may want to brag about it, but I'm not going to have. I shouldn't have to justify it. Oh no,
right.
I helped that lady across the road because I'm a good person. Well,
Right.
okay, perfect. So why you talking about? What the fuck, man?
Right.
But no, it's seriously, it's in every once in a while, and and I think it probably popped into my head to write it down because I knew we were going to be talking about. Well, the fact that we're doing the readings, every week is
Mm-hmm.
the other thing because It's funny, so the fact that we're like you said how cool it is because you used to do it in group and
Mm-hmm.
probably something to look forward to and
Right.
you're paying attention to the readings more. I've been doing the
Right.
same thing
Mm-hmm.
since especially in the last week, knowing we were
Mm-hmm.
going to talk about January 6th is that
Right.
well, two things every morning, and I've done it for not just for this last year on Instagram, but I did it on Sober Grid for probably 3 years, if not
Right.
5 years, at least
Yeah.
three.
Yeah. I know you're doing it for
Every
a long time.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, every single morning I would post a reading, and
Mm-hmm.
I pay attention as I'm reading these to see which one is going to pop out at me, and to your almost exact point of having all these different readings dog-eared, I've got, I mean, shit, it's back to probably as far as 2015 or 16. I've
Mm-hmm.
got these readings,
Right.
they're in my phone, so
Yeah.
every once in a while it's in, obviously Google will prompt me to delete and, trash some of the items and archive them, which I
Mm-hmm.
do, because one way or the other, I got thousands of things in there. But
Uh-huh.
there, every once in a while, I'll literally spin back, kind of like spinning a wheel.
Right.
Just fucking spin back, and I'm like, I'll choose that one instead,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, with doing that, it's been making me actually focus more on the readings,
Mm-hmm.
even though you're the one picking them.
Right.
I think that's why this popped out in my head. But um, yeah, it was it. I just thought it'd be good to talk about because I really was I had to honestly answer. I'm like, most of the time.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I know. Right. And like you said, we do this first thing in the morning and it's, we're not always as focused as we could be.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes we just we're going through the motions, man, because we have to. We're going through those motions and sometimes, yeah, we're not paying as much attention as we should. I know I do too. Yeah, so yeah, it's nice to be able to have a reason other than staying sober and not hurting everyone around us, to pay a little more attention to these things. Right.
Yeah, and it's just the inadvertent I don't know benefits of
Yeah.
seriously the side benefits of us doing this, getting up here or getting up here, getting on this thing every weekend,
Mm-hmm.
talk about nonsensical shit and babbling and
Mm-hmm.
fucking vibrators, dildos,
Right.
and dick
Jellies and
jokes and
jams.
jellies and jams and but seriously, it gives us gives us something else to focus on, which is kind of
Exactly.
cool. It's a positive side effect.
It is.
All right, so there was once again another podcast that I was listening to,
Mm-hmm.
and they brought up this question, and one person asked the other one, can you pick out your best day sober? Which
Hmm.
when I thought about that, I'm like, God, picking one thing. So what I thought about too, and I'm almost kind of giving like broadening this out a little bit, probably in my own head, but also, before you answer this, if you choose. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe rather than trying to narrow down one moment, because for me, I think it's impossible to pick one
Yeah.
day.
Right.
But even if it's like a top three or the things that have been affected, or I don't know, you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily have to be
Mm-hmm.
one day, but maybe what's been the best days, best results, even a top three, top five. It doesn't even have to be a list. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Right. Um. Do we have the promises, the list there?
Well, you know
you
what?
know.
And it's kind of funny because another thing that I had written down from a couple of weeks ago, have we talked about the promises one by one? So hang on one second here. My big book.
It
What page
is. I'm googling as we.
are you? Okay. I don't remember what page it was on.
Where's this
56.
download? I didn't want to download it. Stop that. All right, well, let's open it up. Let's see here. Downloading it couldn't be the worst thing in the world. There they are.
I got the
Yeah.
steps.
Here, I got them.
Okay, yeah, read them off.
All right. The AA promises. If we are painstaking about this phase in our development, we will be amazed before we're halfway through. We're going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not.
We think
that. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 83 and 84.
See, and I couldn't remember 56 is how it works. So that's as soon as I open that, I'm like, damn, I like this one too. But that's how it works,
right?
But so, and that's a good point because and seriously, I had that written down like 3 things up from where I was just reading that one off. But the funny part, I know I told you about this. I think I might have been in Madison by this time. So figure 3.5 years sober. Somebody was reading the promises because for anyone who doesn't do a 12-step thing, sometimes they'll read how it works as a part of the big book. Sometimes they'll read the promises. They'll end off with page 164. They'll do all these certain readings in there.
Different meetings, right? Yeah, they'll do. Like my home group, we do the steps and we do the traditions, and then we do 164 at the end of the meeting.
Right.
Right. Some meetings do the promises as well as the steps and the traditions. And
with they were reading it's some meeting, and like I said, I can't remember where it was, but I had been sober for a little while, and when it got to the point of we will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace. It was funny as that was being read. I almost felt this relaxation, all this calmness. And I'm like, fuck me. That was kind of cool. Because I've been pretty open about this. I never had these flashes. I didn't have that.
Right.
When people talk about moments of clarity and things like that, and their moment of surrender. I mean, I've had my moments, but the last part of the promises is what really to this day makes the most sense to me, that they'll materialize for us if we do the work, but it's sometimes quickly and sometimes slowly.
Right.
And I've said that before. I'm convinced, well, I know for a fact, I've always everything that I've done has been of the sometimes slowly variety, which is fun.
Right.
Because if everything is given to me, and I don't care what it is,
right.
Why? But I know this now. I didn't know this before. But if everything's given to me, I won't appreciate it, and I'm gonna fucking ruin it. It doesn't matter what it is. If I don't have to work for it, it's not going to mean anything to me.
That's right.
I got to go through a little bit of pain, maybe a little bit of suffering. Some of this painstaking waiting that we're doing right now, trying to get this web store up. But I mean, all this stuff, I'm like, okay, this is how it's got to work now. It doesn't drive me as nuts. But the other one too, that the economic insecurities, and I've had my ups and downs. When it comes to jobs and finances and whatever.
Yeah, we all have.
And I mean, I can't say that I've never had some minor economic insecurity, but here's the deal: is that I have this faith. That if I keep doing the next right thing, like we talk about, that the shit's going to work out. I can't just sit there and expect for money to fall into my fucking lap.
Yeah.
What does the promises say? Do the work, right?
Yep.
So if we do that, but yeah, that's probably a great way to bring up. I mean, that's you take all those things into account
Mm-hmm.
that pretty much sums up every part of our
It
lives, right?
certainly does. Once again, not from us.
which is kind of the point of the promises, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and the economics insecurities. Yeah, I mean, there are times in sobriety where my bank account has been pretty damn close to nothing. Um, but like our sponsor always told us, hey, you're employable
Right.
today. Uh, right. Yeah. Which is part of that faith in that, yes, I'm not a complete fucking mess today, so I could get a job. I can work today. I can
Right.
make money. I may not have it right now, but I have the capability to go out and earn more because I'm sober.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing too is knowing that because of the work that we've done,
Mm-hmm.
if shit ever took a really bad turn,
Right.
we've got family and friends that we can
Yeah.
rely on too. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, not necessarily walking up to somebody and being like, dude, I need $500.
Right.
But if either one of us needed a place to stay or needed a
Mm-hmm.
meal or needed a roof over our head for a minute,
Right.
I mean, we have that available to us, but that's because of the work we've done.
That's right.
So once again, I think,
And because of the work we've done, we know that we can't take advantage of that.
Right.
And also because of our past.
Right.
When
Yeah.
we did take advantage of that.
Right. Yeah. We don't want to go there. Don't want to go in that place
No.
again. So, but yeah, it was just weird. And I can't remember. It was like the person that had answered that question. I can't remember what podcast it was, but
Mhm.
it was something about dealing with a particular sponsee and helping them out or
Mhm.
see the light or whatever it was. And it was cool. It was a
Yeah.
cool story. But
Sure.
when I start thinking about it, I'm like, I can't pick one thing. I mean,
Right.
I can't tell you the number of I can tell you this. There have been a, I don't even know how many moments. Plenty of moments where
Mm.
I had those. It's called almost like seeing a cute puppy or something like that, where you have these awe moments, but they're sobriety awe moments where
Right.
you're like, damn, I wouldn't have just been able to experience this if I
Mhm.
weren't sober. If I
Yep.
weren't here, or I wouldn't be here if it weren't for this.
Right.
So. And that goes to my kids and mom and
Oh yeah.
God, everything. It just I
Everything.
can't even
Right.
tell you.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so if anyone pays attention on Instagram too, every once in a while you'll see me do a hashtag it's hashtag fucking promises because Mike
Mhm.
and I say that to each other all the
We
time.
do.
It's like
Yeah.
when my grandson was born or when good things happen with
Exactly.
our in our lives.
Yeah, exactly. When something really good, I mean, that's my go-to. Any of our friends,
Right.
somebody gets pregnant or somebody gets married or whatever, and we know the backstory. We know where they came from. I just say promises, man, fucking promises.
Right.
Yeah, and that's just it. You've done the work. Here's the results. Isn't it fucking cool? Yeah.
Well, and what's funny too is that so after you and I never used hashtags before Instagram
Mhm.
and because I
Right.
never saw the point. I get the point now. It's for a purpose. You're drawing
Right.
people to a page. If you don't do it on Instagram, you might as well not even be on there because that's how
Right.
it all runs.
Right.
But there's certain hashtags that I use all the time. So with certain ones, all I got to do is type a couple of letters and it pops up, and
Uh-huh.
that's one of them. If I type in "fu fucking promises" comes up. It's pretty funny. So hashtag FU. I might have to get to the C, but every
Mhm.
single time it's fucking promises. So if I wanted to do a hashtag for like fucking idiot, I would have to type out fucking IDIOT. I would have to actually because now my Instagram page now or our Instagram page, of course, recognizes that I use that fucking promises quite a bit. So yeah, it's kind of fun.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought so. All right. So best day sober. Obviously, we just covered that with the promises, and then
Uh-huh.
that was because I really didn't think that that we had ever even. I don't know that we've talked about the promises, but probably
Sure.
not in,
But yeah,
any type of detail like that.
Never read
So,
them. That's for
right.
sure. There
That's
they
what
were.
that's what I thought about too. All right. So you mentioned the word, and this has got to remember when I wrote this down, but you mentioned the word brainwashing before, and I've got something written
I
down
did.
about that. So when were you scared, or I'm sorry, maybe better way to put it, I wrote down, what were you scared about when you first went into AA? And like the
Everything.
brainwashing. So, let me step back. You did AA back in California and stuff too, right? Yes,
I
no?
did. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So when you, whether it was there or, yeah, you said everything, but anything in
Yeah.
particular, things you heard or?
Well, we've covered this plenty of times, the higher power thing. You gotta find God. No, you don't. I mean, the Christ. I mean, the end of the chapter to we agnostics. I mean, it pretty much says, and I'm paraphrasing, but the whole point of this is to find God. It's not. It's to find good. It's to find. It's to find a power greater than yourself.
Right.
You want to call it God? Good for you. Yeah, of course, I was scared of everything. I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to feel happy again, feel that ease and comfort that I got from drugs and alcohol. I wasn't going to, I wasn't going to get anything. Yeah, they promised me I'm going to have peace and serenity, but I didn't fucking believe them. No, yeah, maybe, but not like this. It's not like a shot of fucking heroin, man. There's some serenity right there, motherfuckers.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I was fucking scared of all of it. I was scared that I wasn't going to be, funny or happy or, be able to fuck anymore or, I mean, I was scared of goddamn everything. Yeah. Then what do you know? I can still fuck.
It's because you cleaned out your brain and let the blood flow to the different areas of your body.
Right. Yeah. I'm not poisoning myself on a daily basis, so my body works a little bit better. What do you know?
Well,
yeah. Right.
And it was kind of funny because and I've been even though I had never been involved in AA, obviously, and I've talked about this before, but if anyone is new to listening, my dad was an alcoholic, had 29 years sober when he died, and was actually affiliated with the Keating Center, which I didn't know
Right.
at the time that I get in there. Jack we talked about from Cleveland, that was my dad's sponsor. None of that shit mattered, and none of that shit really matters. Only to the extent that I had been to AA meetings before, heard enough of these things from my dad, but
right.
and I was joke about the fact that I knew just enough about AA to make myself dangerous because I'm like, oh, I've been around this thing before,
right? Oh, I know what's going on there.
Right.
There's no way that shit's gonna work for me.
and like you say, the God thing, and Kathy's ex. I mean, her husband at the time,
right?
He's the one. He said to me, and I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, man, I'm not a God guy, man. I don't know.
Right.
And same thing, when the first morning that I was there, and they're like, oh yeah, we're going into fucking meditation, and then they start reading this thing, and the God's in there, and we're praying, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm like, fuck, man. So I understood the structure, but as I started going through this thing, it's like these bits and pieces. It's almost like a hazy memory coming back, just like something I might have lived through, but just, obviously vicariously through my dad and him telling me all these things. And I'm like, ooh, that's what he was talking about. Ooh, I understand this. Well, he's always talking about, the inventory thing. He goes, I always got to take an inventory.
Right.
And I never understood it, but that's one of the biggest and best parts of my day is going to sleep and going through and doing that 10-step, making sure that my shit's in order. Yep. And, Kathy has said the same thing. I think even when we had talked to her that, she thought she knew because her and our dad talked probably more deeply over the years than he and I did. So she thought she had a pretty good handle on what he was doing and dealing with and all that. And that's, she's openly said, she's like, man, I didn't know shit. But then again, how can you, so,
yeah.
But the one thing that I wrote down, I wasn't worried about the brainwashing because I knew my dad well enough. I knew he wasn't wasn't
Right.
brainwashed. I knew it wasn't a cult. I mean, I met his friends and all those sort of
Uh-huh.
things. They were just normal fucking people. So that part of
Right.
it never bothered me. The God thing did, and then just the it scared me to try to think about these fucking steps,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like you
And
start
just
reading,
trying to live without, your best friend that you've had your entire life.
right?
Yeah.
And that's still, as I think about, you just brought that up, and it's been a while since I thought about that. That
Mm-hmm.
how fucking amazing it was that, because I think you and I talked about that as far as cravings, right? In
Right.
while we were in the Keating Center, and I don't really remember. I had a couple of the drunk dreams, but I don't remember like fucking Jones and wanting to get out and drink.
Right. Yeah. Me neither.
Which still, I mean, it blows my mind. I'm like, God, all the fucking drinking, and between the drinking and using that you did, and all the fucking
Mm-hmm.
drinking that I did,
Right.
just even it's crazy. It is fucking crazy to me that I either neither one of us had those cravings. But
Right.
again, I think that all the shit then, and whatever people want to say about whether the outpatient is good and this place is good, or a country club rehab, or whatever the deal is. I don't
Uh-huh.
care. Whatever keeps you sober. I
Yep.
mean, the Keating Center and now probably a little different. I would think, a
Mm-hmm.
little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They certainly have a little better than we did. And I don't mean that in a
Oh
bad
yeah.
way,
Right.
because I am so glad that it was this hardcore down and dirty type of thing. And I don't mean
Yep.
dirty as far as not clean, because we
Mm.
clean the we clean the fuck out of that place,
That's
you know.
right.
But just this down and dirty, and no frills or anything like
Yeah.
that. But
No
we were there
bullshit,
for
man.
we were there for a
It was
purpose,
raw. Yeah,
right?
definitely. Yeah, I know I needed that.
Right. And there was in some of the over the years, my friend Sarah in Wisconsin,
Uh-huh.
because she AA meetings and this and that, and I don't remember if she might have went into like through a detox and a rehab or that sort of thing.
Right.
But I told her, when I told her and a couple other people, but she's the one that I remember completely saying that. She goes, you know what? This is going to sound stupid, but she's like, I'm kind of jealous of that I didn't get that experience, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't trade it for the fucking world,
Right. What
and
was Marty's quote?
yeah,
Best time of your life that you'll never want to repeat.
and you know what? Along with all the other times he didn't lie to us, he didn't lie to us then
That's right.
either. Like, it's fucking, man. I don't want to go back,
No,
but
no. I mean, I tell the guys all the time, man, I love this place. I'd never want to spend the night here.
right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was and we did. I mean, we made the best of that situation once we got our heads out of our asses and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
we were taught well, and we were around like good, solid people. And we say this enough, but it's, I mean, you and I are clearly the closest out of all of our friends. But
Right.
I mean, right off the top of our heads, I mean, again, you think of Tony and you think of Michael, and even go to the women that we know.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing, it goes both ways. We would do anything for them; they would do anything for us. We got
Right.
such a huge support group, and
Mm-hmm.
not just from the Keating Center, but people we met there, and then now just how this group of people has just grown.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Crazy in a good way.
Absolutely. Yes, there's still madness in our lives. It's just good madness.
Right, exactly. So, let's see, 150. Do you want one more thing, or you want to leave it? We good? We good where we're at? I mean, we're at,
That's up to you, man. You got the list.
well, you know what? There's one.
Anything crying out to you?
No, not really. But the one thing, and I don't remember why I wrote this down. I was probably fucking pissed off one day. So, because literally, I put dealing with anger, how
Mhm.
we were before versus how we are now. Oh, I know why I brought it up. But just in a general sense, and I think this is the reason I picked this one out, is I think this is an easy one. But
Mhm.
so difference between now and then, just on a basics of dealing with anger.
Yeah, I recognize it, and I don't allow it like any of my other feelings. I don't allow it to rule my life. I mean, when I'm standing at Walmart a couple of weeks ago, pissed off that they were screwing me over. I was just like, okay, well, this is what it is, and I'm gonna walk through it. And, I still have a car out there. It still has tires that are inflated on it, no matter how bald they are, and it's gonna work out. Something's gonna work out. And 2 weeks later, I have new tires on my car. Hey, imagine that. And I didn't get all pissed off, and I didn't start yelling at people. And back in the old days, of course I would have. Of course, I'd have been half in the bag, and out of control. Yes, I still get pissed off. Of course I do. But it's like all the rest of my emotions. I don't let them rule me anymore.
Well, and I don't remember maybe it was that one of the podcasts I listened to, but it reminded me of a story. But as you were just talking about that made me think about something. So and again, I was thinking the same thing that, well, when the funeral home, there was Jack and Kathy around, and seriously, I would have been, had I been drunk, I would have got arrested that day. We already went through that, but that's an example. And, right now, and it doesn't matter what it is. It could be anything. A lot of times what I'll do is in my head, I'm like, motherfucker. And then I take a deep breath, I just take a deep breath and I'm like, okay. And then whatever, it's that pause that I never had before. So rather than taking the deep breath, I would just act, and act and react and just go fucking nuts. And then find myself apologizing or, cleaning up something that I broke.
Right.
So did I ever tell you about the watch that Dawn got for me?
I don't think so.
Okay. So it was our first wedding anniversary, and she bought me at the time. And it was a Seiko watch, and it was nice. It was this black onyx wristband, black face, a little bit of gold around it. Not flashy, but it was nice,
Right.
And I think at that time, if I'm not mistaken, it was probably a $250 plus watch at that point. So this is like 20 plus years ago, or 20 years ago. So after we split up, and I remember where I was living. I was living in the last place before I got sober. So whatever it was, it didn't matter if it was a few months or a couple years after that. But again, one night, fucking drunk, fucking lit up, fucking mad. And I came across that watch. So the only thing was, for whatever reason, I had the foresight to actually put it in a Ziploc bag before I did this, because if not, watch would have been all over my garage, because I had an attached garage. I went out in the garage, laid the watch on the floor, and I beat the living hell out of it with a rubber mallet.
Nice.
and it was just fucking pieces.
Right. That's rational.
I know. It is. And again, remember, I was mad. I was drunk, lit up about something. And but that in and of itself, and I think that's the thing. I think I was listening to podcasts that were talking about anger, and then, reacting to it. And that popped into, I haven't thought about that in fucking years. But yeah, you're right. I mean, clearly it's not rational,
Right.
But then on top of it, I mean, just the fact that she got me the watch, whatever. Worst case scenario, and I think about it now because I'm a cheap motherfucker. What I should have done, I should have just taken it to a fucking pawn shop and sold it,
right.
And went and bought some booze. That would have showed her.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Well, my ex-wife got me a very nice watch, too. It was a Tag Heuer. And, that went into my arm at one point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. But for everyone out there, again, my the ex I'm talking about is my son's mom, and Dawn, if you ever happen to listen to this, I apologize. It's again, that was probably 2 years before I got sober. I was not in my right mind. I adore you, and I was a human being. So, and I do. I would say that to her face. So, I adore her.
Pretty sure she knows you're a drunken asshole. So,
well, I'm still an asshole. I'm not a drunken asshole anymore.
Right, and that asshole's a bit smaller than it used to be.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not as big of an asshole. Just more of a tamed asshole, I guess. So. But
You're not
I figured
inflamed anymore.
I'm not in need of preparation H anymore.
That's right.
That's you know what? I think on that note we're going to end. We might as well. Might as well. But yeah, that was the last one that I had on there, and I figured that was a quick and easy one either way. So I just
Right.
seriously it just popped in my head about that story too. So, but yeah, I think we whether we did good work here tonight doesn't fucking matter. We did something.
We did
filled
something.
up an hour and filled up an hour and 20 plus minutes. So I think
we showed up
we're good
and
to go.
took some action.
Yes, we did. All right, brother, your turn.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. As always, be good to each other, be kind to each other, do something nice for somebody else this week. And as always, please, please fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over the gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.
I hope I never stop giggling at that, because that
I hope not.
But it's funny though. I listen so intently to see if you're going to fuck it up or not, because that's sometimes more fun. But that's all right. That's on a whole nother note. So, all right, brother. I love you, and I will talk to you soon.
I love you too, man.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
As always, thank you for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. To access all of our content and interact with us, please visit our website, SoberNotMature.com. Thank you again for listening, and we will talk to you soon.